This episode is brought to you by Squarespace. Whether you need a domain, website, or online store, make it with Squarespace. Please forgive this departure from our regularly scheduled programming. For nearly 30 episodes, our little show is focused on places. And that's fine. But for me, there is as much joy in the journey as there is in the destination. It would be easy to dismiss my fascination with flight as mere airplane nerdery, a typical boyish obsession with loud and fast things. But consider this. They friggin' fly! We tend to treat these amazing machines that we board with such dismissiveness. Metal tubes designed to take us from A to B in, we hope, relatively little discomfort. But in the context of humanity, we've been flying for a very, very short time. And for me, the magic, the newness is still there. And I think it's worth celebrating. So I beg your indulgence for the next few minutes.
Relatively infrequently, an entire aircraft design, let alone an individual airplane, reaches the end of its useful life. A product of the engineering prowess and received wisdom of its time, by this point, the design itself could be 40 or 50 years old. Technology and humanity have come a long way since then. For example, it's rare to see the T-tail configuration on modern airplanes anymore. We've realized the limitation of that design, and you really only see it on the McDonnell Douglas Mad Dog airplanes, and their days are numbered as well.
It's even rarer to see a high-wing jet at our airports these days. That configuration is reserved almost exclusively for military aircraft that need more vertical space in a fuselage. Rarer still is a 4-engine regional jet. Even modern transcontinental aircraft have moved from 4 to 2 engines. More efficient, less fuel, less weight, and fewer points of failure if you think about it. But to have all 3 of those design elements on a single airplane, let alone a regional jet, well, just look at it.
The RJ-85 and its predecessor, the British Aerospace 146, are examples of British engineering prowess, up there with Rolls-Royce and Aston Martin. Originally conceived by Hawker Siddeley, the brains behind the Hurricane, the Harrier, and my personal favorite, the Hunter, the RJ-85 family of airliners is the most successful British airliner of all time.
Okay, yes, it's an unusual design. It's strange to look at. But what's so great about it? Why does it deserve celebration? There are so many design choices on this airplane that thrust it into aviation lore. It was originally designed to operate in and out of short runway airports, often in natural or urban canyons. And to do that, several rather ingenious design features were made. Most jet aircraft used thrust reversers to slow the airplane down after landing. These are, as the name suggests, protrusions that temporarily change the direction of the thrust produced by the engine to slow the airplane down. The RJ-85 doesn't have those because it doesn't need them. Instead, it has a huge air brake on its rear that can be used in flight, allowing it to tackle steep descent rates that standard configuration airplanes just can't handle. It also has a full-width wing spoiler, which disrupts the lift over the wing as soon as the plane lands. And it has toughened landing gear and undercarriage, meaning it can deal with rough airstrips and hard landings. And finally, it was the second airplane in the world after Concorde to have carbon brakes. All of that means it is perfectly suited for here, London City Airport.
Now, London City Airport is a relatively new airport. First flight was only in 1987. It's built in the Docklands area of London, ostensibly to serve the city's financial district. It's a small but very functional airport with a single runway built on a causeway right next to the River Thames. But here's the challenge. That runway is incredibly short, less than 5,000 feet, and it's surrounded by buildings on all sides. And because of its proximity to central London, it has extremely strict noise abatement regulations. On the face of it, it seems a totally impractical place to build an airport. But the engineers came up with a rather elegant solution to those challenges. Make the angle of approach into the airport incredibly steep, limiting the amount of noise generated on landing. Now, a normal airport has an approach angle of around 2 to 3 degrees. London City, when it opened, was a stomach-dropping 7.5 degrees. Couple that approach angle with the short runway and you're almost guaranteed a fantastic ride in and out of this airport. In fact, There are only a few types of airplanes that are able to get in here, and pilots have to go through a special training course to shoot the approach. For years, the Avroliner was the only jet airplane capable of getting in and out of this unique airport.
I love this plane. I always have. Its shape, its sound, its toughness, its comfort, all its idiosyncrasies. It's worth celebrating, and I thank you for indulging me. A million thanks also to our friends at CityJet and London City Airport for helping us pay tribute to this most wonderful and uniquely British airplane. If you get a chance to fly on a CityJet Avroliner before they're retired from the fleet in the coming months, do it. It's a final opportunity to experience a piece of British engineering at its best. This episode of Attache is brought to you by Squarespace. Whether you need a domain, website, or online store, make it with Squarespace. I've been a Squarespace user and fan for years. In fact, my personal site at alexhunter.org is built using Squarespace and is always up to date because with Squarespace, I never have to install, patch, or upgrade. The Attache website, also built using Squarespace, including, and this is such a great feature, the online store, which makes it so easy for us to sell the Attache book, keep track of inventory, manage orders, all in one place. Anyone can build a website on Squarespace. All you have to do is head to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to unleash your awesomeness on the world, go to squarespace.com/attache and save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.